Morning, everyone. Let's call the court to order. Today is Tuesday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2020. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Thursday, April 30th, 2020 at 4 p.m.
Thank you. Let's pause briefly for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge to the flags. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I was missing that up big time.
I joined the flag. All right, thank you. Okay, at this time, if there's any members of the public who want to come forward and speak to the court on business matters, please do so. I do not believe we had anyone call in. So seeing none, we will go forward. Under D is under proclamations and resolutions. This is a proclamation recognizing and honoring National Correctional Officers Employees Week. We have a proclamation, and is Commissioner Perry going to read it, or is...
Glad to.
Okay, Commissioner Perry will read the proclamation.
It's a proclamation of the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizing and honoring National Correctional Officers and Employees Week. Whereas in 1984, President Ronald Reagan signed Proclamation 5187 creating National Correctional Officers Week. And whereas the first full week of May is recognized as National Correctional Officers Week to honor the work of correctional officers and correctional personnel nationwide. And whereas in 1996, Congress officially changed the name of the week to National Correctional Officers and Employees Week. And whereas the names of 720 correctional officers are engraved on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. These courageous heroes are forever remembered, and their light continues to shine through their memory and through the selfless men and women who continue to serve each day. And whereas historically correctional officers have been viewed as guards occupying isolated and misunderstood positions in prisons and jails, the duties of these officers have become increasingly complex and demanding. And whereas the professional dedication and courage exhibited by these officers throughout the performance of these demanding roles deserve the utmost respect. And whereas it is important that we honor the daily contributions and accomplishments of these men and women who are crucial to the operation of correctional facilities. And therefore be it proclaimed the McLennan County Commissioners Court recognizes and honors the officers of all correctional facilities for their devotion, bravery, and commitment. Be it further proclaimed, a copy of this proclamation be made a permanent part of the minutes of the Commissioners Court, witnessed our hand and seal this 5th day of May 2010, signed by Scott M. Felton, County Judge, Kelly Snell, Commissioner Precinct 1, Will Jones, Commissioner Precinct 3, Patricia Miller, Commissioner Precinct 2, and Ben Perry, Commissioner Precinct 4. Also attested and signed by Mercedes McGowan, Deputy County Clerk. And again, we want to thank the correctional officers, not just in our county, but across the state and the nation for their duty and their sacrifices.
Thank you. And it's very appropriate to have this proclamation, and we're especially proud of the team that we have under the leadership of Major Armstrong, and under he being led by Sheriff Farnham. So is there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve that proclamation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Going to under E under the consent agenda, recommended pulls are E2A, which is the check run that I will have to abstain, and I've signed the affidavit for that. And then under E3B, wanting to, a resignation letter by Wayne Kennedy. Is there any other recommended pulls? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the pull of E2A and E3B?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. I'd like to go to, first to item E3B. And this is a letter of resignation or retirement announcement from Wayne Kennedy. It addressed me, dear Judge Felton, I would like to inform you that I am retiring from my position of Director of Maintenance of Equipment on May the 31st, 2020. My last day of work is May the 29th, 2020. 2020. And I have been working in this position for the last 27 years. I cannot explain in words what the county has given to me and how grateful I am to be allowed to work for this company, for this outfit, and grow professionally. That's not exact wording. And just after 4 months on the job, I never thought that I would be able to work with the ATF, the FBI, and the Sheriff's Department, with the Branch Davidian conflict and the West Fertilizer explosion. Then after about 6 months, the opening for Director of Maintenance of Equipment opened up, and I applied for the position, and it was awarded to me. This position has allowed me to grow in so many ways for many years. And budget towards the jail position has allowed me to grow and in many areas for yearly budgets. Sometimes I was amazed that we were able to get everything done when we were just a small department. Thank you for making my career wonderful, and I will miss each and every one of you immensely. Sincerely, Wayne Kennedy. Wayne spent many years, as he stated in his letter, and has been a lot of things to the county, but one of them, he's been a really good guy and very well thought of by the community, by our McLennan County community. He'll be missed. We will work towards replacing Wayne. He has big shoes that we will have to fill, so we'll work towards that. So I would make a motion that we accept that resignation or announcement of retirement with regrets. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. The other pulled item is item E2A, and it's a check run. And so I've signed an affidavit of conflict of interest. And so I'd ask Commissioner Snell, while I step away, to deal with that item. Thank you.
Okay, E2A, authorization for county treasurer to pay checks, wire, electronic transfers issued since the last authorization. Have a motion, can I have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please poll the court.
Judge Pro Tem Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Motion is approved and passes. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like now to go to a couple of presentations. I'd like to start out with under L1, under Judge Hodges, page 12 on mine. Good morning, Judge Hodges.
Morning. I want to make sure y'all can see me and hear me.
I can't see you right now.
Okay. I'm trying to start the video.
Okay.
Maybe it's better you can't see me. Well, I can go ahead without the video. I tried to test it earlier and it seemed to be working. But
Let's speak up. Judge, if you could speak up.
let me increase my volume a little bit. Can y'all hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead with the presentation. As you know, we started a mental health treatment court. We were in the process of ramping that up when we were hit by our virus. And so that's on hold right now. But one of the things that we noticed when we did our research is that what we're going to be able to do with this mental health treatment court is to help 30 or 40 folks who are on probation, who are there because of a mental illness, and we will shepherd them through probation, make sure that they're staying on their meds, make sure that they're not ending up back in the criminal justice process. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the problems that we have with having folks that are mentally ill in our jail. We probably have anywhere from 120 to 170 at any one time in the jail. And so what we have, judges can only preside over cases that are actually filed in our courts. So until those cases are filed, we're pretty much handcuffed on what we can do to get those cases moved. A lot of the delays that we've seen in getting these folks into treatment and getting them processed through the system comes before the cases are filed. And so what we want to do and what we've presented to you today is a grant application to the Texas Indigent Defense Commission. They've got some pretty significant funds that will help with providing counsel for these folks. And so what we're asking is to institute a managed attorney program for mental health cases. This would be only for our mental health cases, not for all appointed cases. Just a second. So the purpose of this would be to assist, kind of to be an adjunct to the mental health treatment court, but more than that, to help dispose of all the mental health cases more efficiently. We're going to try to follow a program that was instituted in Collin County in 2012. It started in 2013. The problem is that currently, if someone has a mental illness and they are in the jail and they need to be appointed counsel, there's no differentiation made between what counsel is appointed regarding the fact that they have a mental illness. So they're just going to get whoever's next on the appointment wheel, which consists of 100 to 125 attorneys at any one time. So they're getting the luck of the draw when it comes to having an attorney that actually knows and understands the mental health code, the code of criminal procedure that relates to mental health hearings, commitments, making sure that someone is competent before they have a plea, regaining competency. What we've noticed is that we have about 10 or 12 attorneys in the county who seem to be very, number one, interested in that, and number two, proficient in that. They understand the code. They understand all the ins and outs of state hospital stays, getting people back, getting them to hearings once they're found competent. And so what we want to do is establish this managed health program, managed attorney program, have an attorney contracted with a defense attorney who's in charge of the program, this person would be responsible for, number one, training these 10 or 12 attorneys and making sure that they are competent and up to date, keeping up with their CLE hours, making sure that we have, and then creating a specialized appointment list just for mental health cases and only appointing these 10 or 12 attorneys. And this assigned counsel would also oversee not just the appointment, but the disposition of the case. So they're going to be looking at the jail list every day, getting attorneys appointed, getting those cases filed as quickly as possible. And also, we want to establish a mental health PR bond program so that if the cases aren't filed on time, then the people who are actually not risks would be assigned a PR bond and they can get out and get to treatment. This assigned counsel would also oversee the payment of the attorney's fee vouchers. They would also oversee the appointment of doctors for competency hearings. For instance, I talked to the director of this program in Collin County. She said one way that they were more efficient in the way they disposed of the cases and also saved the county money is that they would review any requests from a defense attorney to have a doctor appointed for a competency exam and make sure that there actually was a competency issue, not just I can't communicate with my client because I can't understand what they're saying. So they were able to cut down the number of competency exams. They also oversaw the appointing of investigators on criminal cases and were able to reduce the number of investigative fees that were paid. Currently, all of that's being done by the judges. And no one is really overseeing it. There's not one person, one point of contact person who's keeping up with all those appointments. And so if I am able to share my screen with you guys, I'm going to try to do this. Can y'all see this PowerPoint?
We can.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So I'm actually just going to run through this quick PowerPoint without just in the way it is, because I want to be able to switch to another one. So you can see here that the average jail cost per inmate when they started the program in 2012 was about $23,000 by the time the case was disposed of. Over the years, they've been able to reduce that. These statistics are through 2018, down below $10,000. So that's a reduction of $13,000 per inmate. I don't know if you, and basically when they did their statistics, I was told that they used a figure of $70 a day. Our jail staff actually tells me that if our folks are diagnosed with a mental illness and receiving medications through the jail, it costs us closer to $200 a day. So the savings could be a lot more than this. The next slide shows, hang on a second, average jail days from arrest to case disposition. You can see that before they started the program, their average time before the case was disposed of was close to a year, 325 days or so. By 2018, they've reduced that to about 140 days. Again, that's a reduction. Even if you just figured that at $70 a day, that's a savings of about $13,000 per inmate. Where you save costs with this kind of program, number one, you've got somebody that's recognizing the competency issues early and getting them a competency exam early. If they need to be sent somewhere to regain competency, we get them out of our jail and at least on the waiting list as soon as possible. When they come back, this is, see where I've highlighted no deterioration in return to incompetency. One of the things we've experienced just repeatedly in our jail is when someone regains competency, they've been sent somewhere for treatment, they regain competency, and then they come back here for their hearing. It's not unusual at all for them to remain in jail so long before we get them to that hearing that they become incompetent again, and we go through the whole process again. So they've been able to get these hearings set and get them to court while they're still competent, so that we can get them on past the court hearing. They created a mental health bond system. This is what I was talking about, where they let people out on PR bonds if they're not dangerous and if they qualify. For felony offenses, they would normally not be eligible for a PR bond until 90 days. Misdemeanor offenses, if it's an A, it's 30 days, and if it's a B, 15 days. So they calculated over 5 years that every year they have saved more and more money for the county by getting these people out and getting them into treatment so they don't just languish in jail. Yes, sir. Okay. And competency jail days saved. The average before the program began, they were in jail 271 days before competency was established, and they've reduced that to 140 days. So one other thing I want you to see is the investigative cost comparison. This relates to paying investigators that the judges were asked to approve vouchers for investigators on cases. Quite often that didn't need to be done, or it was being asked for in cases that didn't require it. By having this managed counsel oversee this, they were able to reduce that from $190,000 to a little over $120,000. So another savings of about $70,000 per year for the county. And then one other slide is the cost to the county. This just goes through 2014, but they showed that the cost that the county paid versus what the county got was a gain to the county of $630,000. So that's just some of the research from Collin County. Their program started out like the one we're asking for, where they had a contract attorney and they had one staff member assisting. They have now actually asked that attorney to take over all the appointments, the entire appointment wheel, and run that as a separate department to make it more efficient. And that could be something that we could end up looking forward to at some point. So that's what we're asking for. The grant application will be for $140,000. That's to pay the attorney a contract amount, and then to have one staff member and some computer, about $10,000 worth of computers and things like that. The grant itself is a 4-year grant. First year, the state pays 80%, we pay 20%, and then it drops 20% every year. I can tell you that I do not know, even if we apply for the grant, if we'll get it or all of it. A couple of things that I have been told by the executive director is that, number one, they would prefer a grant application that does not have a contract attorney but has a full-time employee, because they feel like there have been several programs that asked for a contract attorney and those programs failed because the attorney was not invested and didn't do it full-time. And so they're kind of gun shy on that kind of program. They would prefer that we have an employee. The second thing is, of course, that we don't know what the state's going to do with funding levels. We've got our challenges and they've got their challenges. Because of the obviously decrease of oil prices and what to decide.
Judge, if the court wants to move forward, yet make the decision on whether this is, if the court wants to move forward with it, make the decision whether it's a contract personnel or consultant versus FTE with a assistant. Can we do that? Can we start the process and then it'll give the court a week or so to kind of think that over, look at it. Of course, their budget starts in October. I mean, excuse me, in this fall, this summer and fall.
Right.
So how can we kind of step into it and get things working without final decisions made before? Is that
I
possible?
think, okay, I think what we will have to do because of time constraints, I asked the executive director if the grant application deadline might be pushed because of all the COVID and the activities or lack of activities, and he said it's not going to be. So the grant application deadline is actually next week, May the 11th. So probably what I would do is just go ahead and apply for the grant as if it were a contract only position, with the understanding that they may reject the grant just based on that, and see what happens. That way, if the court decided they want to move it at some point to full-time, it certainly would be easy to do that later on. As I said, that's what they did in Collin County. It started as a contract. So I think I'll have to go ahead, we will have to go ahead and make a decision when I file the application to call it either contract or full-time. And since we haven't had enough time really to flesh that out, I think I need to file it as a contract position only.
And the grant's decreasing over those years. So let's just say we're in the second year of the grant, and analysis of what actually has happened turns out that it's fallen short of what we expected. Is there a clawback or anything if we step out of that grant before the end of the full grant program, the 4 years?
I'm not aware whether there is or not. I know that it's a full 4-year program. I don't know about the callback. Our portion of it, the first year, is only going to be about $30,000, and as you say, it goes up after that. So I'm just not aware of that, Judge.
And then the other thing is, we haven't budgeted for that, our portion of that. So trying to figure out where those funds would come from as well. So,
Yes, sir.
any questions?
I think
I have.
Grant, and I think we can figure all that out as we move forward.
I have.
Go ahead.
Okay, it sounds like a really great idea. It sounds like a really great position, and grant funding is valuable. I guess my unreadiness is that what we had in the packet was the actual grant application. We didn't get any information on how the position would look. We're getting an oral report based on if it would be an attorney or a full-time position. We really don't have anything to look at as far as the responsibilities and the functions, because it sounds like it would be a position that would be budgeted at a substantial salary. And we don't have any indication how we would even move forward in filling the position, but yet we're told we got to vote today. It's not that I'm against submitting the grant, I'm just unready to vote and move forward because there's so much information that I didn't get today.
Right, and I apologize for the short time period that they gave us to do this. They were told us initially that it would be pushed into June or even July, and then they came back and said, no, we want to stick to our original deadline. But my understanding of what we would be doing today is just a resolution to support the grant application. The application actually still has to be filed, and then once it's filed, even if it's approved, then it would have to come back to the court to actually approve the receipt of the grant. And that would have all, first of all, the application itself would have to be, it's the way I understand it, Judge, have to be signed off by you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's gonna have all that information in it, but I understand the court has not been able to see that. So, I don't know how to, we just don't have time to do that. And I apologize for that.
Any other thoughts or questions? What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion to approve the resolution supporting the grant for the Texas Indigent Defense Commission.
Second.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? And Commissioner Miller, I understand exactly what you're saying. I felt the same way, but I do think that this improves the efficiency of what we're doing now. It's and it falls in line with community work under the behavioral health leadership team, dealing with local mental health problem that we have, and a lot of it has to do with tracking or the lack of tracking, and what's called a revolving door coming in and out of the jail. So this does put special attention around those individuals who, you can take jail staff and could probably name 50 of those people that we're talking about because they see them so often. And, I feel like that we can have an end product that you would be satisfied for, but I know we're short of time and short on information. So
I agree with you. As far as I see it being a valuable moving forward, it's just in the lack of so much information. If we do move forward to approve the grant, I would like to get information between now and hearing back, other counties that have this program in place as opposed to just Collin County, and just some feedback on exactly the counties that use an attorney, or the counties that use a full-time employee, exactly what that employee does, and then how effective is the position, if I could get that information.
okay, understand. Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, we have a motion second. We call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Stolten,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Thank you. Okay, going to, is Nelson Barnes available to go to
I'm here.
item L2? This is regarding the Homeland Security Grant Division for FY 2020 Border Prosecution Unit Grant Authorization of Grant Application Submission. Good morning, Mr. Barnes.
Good morning. I'm in on Barry's email. I don't have a camera on my computer, so I'm in Barry's office. It's listed under Barry Johnson if they want to turn that video on.
Okay. Do you have any additional comments about this grant?
Yes, sir. And here I'm starting to, there we go. This is actually a grant that kind of came to us rather than us going to it. This last legislative session, the legislature approved a TAG, Texas Anti-Gang Initiative Center, to be placed in McLennan County. And that is undergoing through, I think the lead on that has been at the Waco PD. It is a fusion center for information sharing. It's not a task force type setup where officers from multi-jurisdictions will work together on one case or another case, but it is set up to share information regarding gang activity in the regional area. And it is under the auspices of what is called the Border Prosecution Unit. This is a grant that was established through the governor's office a little more than 10 years ago. that aided the counties that had border crime issues when everything kind of blew up criminally along the border. And that has been kind of metamorphosized into including these tag centers. There's one in Harris County, one in Bexar County. One has just been stood up, same time frame as Ayers and Tyler. And they're designed to share information regionally because so many of these gangs, including border crime, come up the interstates and begin to affect our communities as well as the whole state. So at the last legislature, money was approved for the prosecutor position to work with the McLennan tag. And they actually came to us and said, hey, this money is out there. We just need you to apply for it. And so this is to fund the prosecutor position that would be the, in effect, prosecutor for those tag cases that took place in McLennan County, as well as oversee regional cases, as well as provide referencing and legal support to those who are working in the Fusion Center. It is a 100% funded grant. This would be for a 1-year term. The next readmission would be next year for a 2-year cycle. There's no matching funds required. The grant would fund 100% of the prosecutor to include the benefit cost. We just got final numbers with the governor's office yesterday of what we would be applying for, and it's $137,819. 128,819 of that is personnel. The rest is furnishings for a new office, computer. They're required CLE training within that budget year, as well as then their travel to pay for mileage, because the prosecutor would be expected to go to other counties within the region. But it is a 100% funded 1-year commitment on this grant with an application for that position to then extend for 2 years further going. And it's under the auspices of, as I said, the border prosecution. That is a huge multi-million-dollar grant. And this is just a small piece of that. But the money apparently has already been set aside for us to apply for. And we're just asking for a resolution to allow us to seek that funding.
Okay, any questions?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any other discussion?
I do have a question. Is this going to fund a current position, or is this creating a new position?
This would create a new position. We would hire someone with them knowing this would be grant positions that can cease to exist if funding stopped.
The other question came up here. What budget year would you hire this position as soon as the funds are available? Is it next budget year, or?
It would be on the state's next budget cycle, so it would be this fall, September 1st.
So there's no one doing this, there's no one performing these duties right now?
There is not, the tag is not up and running at this time as a standalone unit. So we haven't been asked for those resources. If it had been asked for, I have probably the most gang experience in the office and probably would be helping them out till that came along. But this would just be something to run with the tag as it stood up.
After the first year of funding, how do you cover those additional 2 years if we extend it, and then the years after that?
The grant is reapplied for every year through the Border Prosecution Unit. This has been going on for about 10 years through the governor's office.
Okay, so each year that we apply, if we're approved, then that position will be covered with grant funds?
We would use grant funds completely. It wouldn't require any budget requirements out of increasing our budget at all, other than just obviously would show in the budget to be paid by the grant.
Okay.
And then that would just repeat in 2-year cycles after that.
Is any consideration given to using this grant to offset the cost of somebody that's already on board and through that able to actually cut your budget back going into this next year that we're very concerned about?
Yes, sir. We understand that completely, and we haven't hired anyone in to that. And the kicker of it is it's limited to what cases it would be able to work. because the grant only allows them to work these border-related or gang-related crimes. And so it would somewhat then limit our productivity from the position we would have to take away that can work anything we ask it to work.
Any other questions? Okay, no other questions. We have a motion and a second. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. I'd like to go to item E3B. It was one I left off after Wayne Kennedy's resignation, notice of retirement letter. There's a item for discussion or action regarding replacement of director, including but not limited to interim management director and replacement processes, job description changes, updates, and relative matters. And what I would like to recommend to the court that due to the fact that this we work closely with City of Waco and other cities as well as Sheriff's Department, that we sit down with that group and probably include Frank Patterson, who's one of our consultants right now, because we're dealing with this large contract with Motorola on communications that we have just because we've been doing things a certain way for many years doesn't mean that we can't take this opportunity to look at maybe other ways to join in with other entities in this. So I'd like to have, up until the next meeting time to work on that and bring to the court. And any thoughts any court member has, I would appreciate it as well. And so I'd make a motion, we defer.
Motion to defer.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Okay, pass. All right, going to, jumping around, but I'd like to go to N7, page 17, pertaining to the jury. Dustin, if you could, I don't know that if that John Gimbel has made contact or not, but if he hadn't, if you could cover this one, please. Dustin?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me start my video. All right. Good morning. John wasn't able to be on, but due to the COVID-19 and the requirements for social distancing, using the visiting courtroom to impanel a jury, it's too small to allow for effective social distancing. So there are provisions in the local government code which allows us to designate an auxiliary courtroom. That's section 292.004 of the local government code. So what this order does is allow us to designate rooms in the convention center to be used for impaneling jurors during the upcoming jury calls. So if we could just get this approved, it's necessary due to the COVID-19 pandemic and it helps preserve and protect public health. And like I said, it will approve the Bosque Theater as an auxiliary jury room, the McClendon room of the Waco Convention Center, and then if necessary, other large rooms of the Waco Convention Center in order to designate those as auxiliary courtrooms.
Okay, any questions?
I had just one question, not necessarily against, impaling the jurors at the Bosque Room Theater, but we're calling individuals in for jury duty. Does it allow them to use if they feel a person is in danger because of COVID-19, or is it mandatory that you have to show up?
I actually talked to John about that last night. He's working on amending his jury plan, and it's going to kind of mirror some of the language that we had in for our employees, where if there's an individual who is, of course, exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms, I believe he was going to include that, but those that might be a caretaker for somebody in the high risk categories, that there will be some exceptions, but he was still working through that as of about 7:30 last night when he and I visited. So, yes, ma'am, there are some considerations being given though.
And those folks with reasonable requests will have an opportunity to declare that in front of the judge. From what I understand, that's why the other room is being used for that.
But see, you're still asking them to come down to the,
Uh-huh.
Right.
so that's, that puts them at risk. So can, in his plan, will it allow for you to declare that maybe over the phone or in writing or?
I will see if I know he wasn't able to join the meeting. Let me text him right now, Judge. If we could hold this for just a minute, I'll text him and I'll see if I can get that answer.
Okay. And I think there is a way to get an excuse without coming through the, whenever you get the notice, but he'll know that.
So I'm aware of that, but it's like if you're a caretaker of have children and different things like that, where I don't think it says, I would just like to,
Okay.
I think we need to have that
Clarified.
We need to have that clarified in writing.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hold that for a second.
Judge, he's responding to me right now, but if you want to jump somewhere else, that's fine.
No, if can he get on?
He said he wasn't able to remote desktop in, but he's typing a text to me. All right, and he's going to have the amendment to the jury plan on the next court agenda. I'm asking that specific question now, if it can be done without physically coming to the convention center.
Do we need to is there any reason that we have to have this done today, or can we just, because it sounds like it's not quite complete yet.
When does jury notice go out?
Not sure, but he said yes, it will be done where they can request the exemption without having to come to the convention center.
All right. What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made. Second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. Call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, I'd like to go to item I1, Economic Development Report with Chris Collins, who is present in court today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What you have before you is a request for a draw request payment from the Waco-McLennan County Economic Development Corporation. This is to Swan Products. They completed a expansion project last year, and the Economic Development Corporation did a grant in support of that expansion. The total grant award was $400,000, of which $100,000, up to $100,000, would be available to reimburse for a fire pump that was needed to provide fire suppression services to the site. The company has completed its expansion. The expenses have been incurred regarding the fire pump, and the company has submitted a request for payment. The award again was up to $100,000. The expense actually came out to $76,517.90, which is what is being requested for payment. The county's portion of that is $38,258.95.
Okay, any questions? All right, What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Okay, you ready to go to executive session?
Whenever you
Okay.
are.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute recess and then come back and go into executive session. And so after that, we'll come back on and finish the agenda. Thank you. Okay, let's call court back into session. I'd like to go to items under F, under budget amendments, transfers, changes, additional revenue, certifications, expenditure requests. Under F1 is regarding the FY20 budget. So Francis, if you'll take F1A on down.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Starting with F1A, we have some budget amendments for the current year, fiscal year 20. F1A is in the Justice Technology Fund, and this is a request from JP3. The request is to increase the line item for equipment to purchase some video conferencing equipment. F1B, this is a general fund budget amendment for the sheriff's office, and they are requesting to move within line items within their budget. The request is to move $10,000 into astray expenditures. F1C, this is also in the general fund for the health services department, and their request is just to move $53 from another line in their budget into furniture and equipment so that they can purchase a scanner. F1D, General fund, this is for the tax office. This request is related to an approval that you made on the last agenda. It was a purchase of the OPEX equipment upgrade. And so that request is coming from the general fund contingencies line item. F1E, this is the permanent improvement fund related to the 2019 bond. This is also related to an item that you approved on the last agenda. This is the microwave link equipment proposal that was presented, and that totals $428,084, and that's coming from the contingencies line in that fund. And then F1F, General Fund for Constable 5. He is requesting to move within his budget into other services and charges, and that is to cover some additional cost for security monitoring for the year. If there's any questions, let me know.
Okay, any questions about those covered by Francis?
Make a motion to approve F1A through F1F.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Snell,
It doesn't seem to be on.
okay. Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under item F1G, authorization Texas Association of County Claims deductible invoice. Under F1G is a invoice totaling $10,000 for claims associated with Andre Boyd. I think that is an excessive force case. Under F1G2 regarding invoice NRDD-0005-817 is an invoice totaling $377.50 for claim associated with John Montgomery, which is a false arrest and has been dismissed. And then under item 3 is a TAC invoice for $500 for claim associated with the Laura Upmore case, ADA, which is a wrongful termination, and it's been dismissed. And then the last is regarding invoice number NRDD 000059, and that's an invoice totaling $287.50 for claims associated with Kenyatta Haywood. Is there any questions about that? If not, is there a motion to approve item F1G through F1G1 plus through F1G4?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under F2 regarding the FY21 budget, F1-2A discussion or action regarding matters relative to FY21 budget and the 2019 tax rate included but not limited to budget policies, priorities, timelines, and updates of the county auditor on budget work session as needed. Francis?
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to touch base and give you an update on where we're at with the budget for next year and for the tax rate. You may have all already seen it, but of course the appraisal district published the preliminary appraised taxable values at the end of last week. So of course, those are preliminary values and those will continue to be adjusted moving towards the end, towards the end of July, where we will receive those actual certified values. But right now, the preliminary appraised values are sitting at about 19 billion compared to last year. Those were right around 18 billion. So you'll see that 1 billion increase there. Of that increase, about a third of it, a little less than a third of it, is actually new property. So again, we'll keep tracking those numbers along as adjustments are made through the next few months. We are still awaiting, along with the tax office, are still awaiting the actual the technical calculation forms from the state comptroller to calculate the rates. We're assuming that they're going to be very, very soon, but we are still awaiting those. So when we get those forms, we'll be able to put all the factors in and come up with the rates for you to look at. But I just wanted to touch base on Senate Bill 2 and those changes. I know you've all heard about it and read about it in lots of different contexts, but I just wanted to touch on a few things. So of course, this year, the new terminology, we now have the no new revenue rate, which is comparable to the effective rate that we've had in the past. So of course, that's the rate that generates the same amount of revenue than the prior year on property that was in existence in the prior year. In more detail, it's the same amount of maintenance and operations revenue plus the new property, then plus the debt service. So all that rolled together comes up with that no new revenue rate. Then there is the voter approval rate, which was previously known as the rollback rate. And so that voter approval rate, of course, that if you exceed that, it triggers an automatic election. In the past, the rollback rate exceeded, or the rollback rate was calculated as 8% on top of the effective rate. So now the voter approval rate is only 3.5% on top of the no new revenue rate. So you have a much smaller window in there between those two rates. Each year, if you don't go up to that 3.5%, you can bank the amount of that 3.5% that you did not use. And so they have termed that the unused increment rate. When each year, what we'll do is we'll look at that bank and then it's a 3-year rolling period. So we'll look back the last 3 years, whatever is sitting in that bank, you can increase your voter approval rate by that amount, not just the 3.5%, but what's in that bank. There is no look back provision. So for this next year, of course, we're sitting on a 0 unused increment rate. Another change is that there is only one tax rate hearing required now. So one tax rate hearing, one budget hearing. And the budget calendar reflects that. You can see that change there. There's other changes related to the appraisal district and timelines and publications. I won't go into any of that detail, but I just wanted to touch on some of those for now. And like I said, we'll get you those rates as soon as we have the information from the state comptroller's office. I know on everyone's mind, of course, is COVID-19 and how that's gonna affect revenues and possibly expenditures, of course, going forward. You know that we have, of course, are going to have drop in sales tax. It could also affect collection rates, current year collection rates for property taxes, as well as other revenues the county collects, charges for services and fines and fees. At this time, just with the information that we have, it's hard to tell how those will really be affected. But over the next couple months, as information comes in, we'll keep revisiting those. And I think with a little more information, we can be better prepared moving into the next year. But one thing that we can be confident in and that we are certain on is that we have a very healthy unassigned fund balance. Last year, you'll remember that when we adopted the budget and the tax rate for the current fiscal year that we're in, you set that up so that we would meet that 33% goal, which is 33% of our operating expenditures. So that's why you met the goal. That's what it's there for, is for when we're, uncertain in some areas, in this case, COVID-19, but we do have that unassigned fund balance there if we need to use that for uncertainties. We have sent out budget packets. I'm sure you've all received those. Those are trickling into our office. So just another piece of the puzzle. We'll fit all these things together and then present those to you so you can make decisions. On the next agenda in 2 weeks, we'll give you another update on where we are in the current year. So that will be a report through the end of April. So that information is good to move forward into budget workshops as well. If there's any other information you need or anything you want to discuss now, questions, just let me know. I just wanted to just give you kind of an update on where we are right now.
I might take notice that there was a amendment on values that was sent out yesterday from the President District, primarily due to maybe overstated values on equipment. And so, and then the other thing is whether the COVID-19 situation triggers an emergency plan through the budgeting process that would not be limited to the 3.5% cap during emergency disasters.
Mm-hmm.
Understand Senator Battencourt doesn't believe it's a disaster. So there'll be a lot of discussion around that as well. The other thing that we need to look at in our revenue side is fines and fees. I don't know that we've looked at those in a while, and we might look at that as well. And then the only other thing is I've got the feeling that the Commissioners Court will be looking at a fairly, I don't know any other way to say it, but maybe a little bit on the conservative or stingy side in the budgeting process due to all the issues and unknowns that are out there that where values may not be affected as much on this year, but next year where there's income property where the tenants are financially strapped and not able to maybe service their obligations on rents or even debt service payments. And so there could be, repercussions from this sooner or later in the revenue side. So any other comments any commissioners want to make at this time?
Francis, when do you think that you'll have estimates on collections and sales tax?
As far as our estimates for the next year. So, we've tried to pull in a lot of information from different sources. One of those, the main is, what does April look like? And of course, we don't quite know when April's information flows in. I think we'll be able to really take a look at that and then move forward and put all the information together. So I'm hoping that by, let's see, this is, maybe by maybe the second agenda in June, we'll have a little more information on what is actually happening. And so then hopefully we can come up with some better estimates of how that's going to be impacted next year. But right now, all we, the numbers we have to look at end at the end of March. And so, just as far as like the judge was talking about fines and fees and other collections, there was an uptick. Usually March is because of spring break and income tax going out and things like that. So April will be where we can really see the changes there.
So, and then when you say fines and fees, are you talking about on the court side or on the tax side?
I'm sorry, just on the court side, all the, through the justice courts, also, any other fees or fines that the county clerk and the district clerk are collecting. So all of those, March always has a little bit of a spike if you kind of follow the months along. But we know that April was definitely impacted. We just have to still gather and compile that information. Of course, the sales tax, we won't know what April looked like until June. That's when we will, I know we can get some information from the state comptroller probably before then, but that's when we will actually have our disbursement.
We can assume they're going to be substantially lower for these months, the last several months.
for sure.
We hadn't having court.
Do what?
We haven't been having court.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah. But, yeah. Sales tax, so has been down.
Right, sales tax.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Francis, anything else?
No, that's all I have for today.
Okay, thank you. On the, under item G, under bids, RFPs, RFQs, under G1, authorization of work order inspection proposal for our elevator safety test, our annual safety test. So Ken, I think you've, or TJ, I think that's a TJ question. So it looks like he's got a list here. Is TJ on? Yeah, there he is.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, so this is just our yearly elevator inspections to get us through the licensing and registration. This is typically what we see throughout the year. It's gone up just a little bit, but not much.
Okay. Is and all these elevators that are on this list are working?
Yes, sir. These are our day-to-day elevators that we use.
Okay. Okay, any questions about that? If not, what's the pleasure, court?
Motion to approve the proposal from Thias and Krupp.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye. It's under G2's authorization renewal of bid number 15-017. This is for the printing of McLennan County tax statements. So Ken? The county currently has a contract with Peregrine Solutions for printing of McLennan County tax statements. The tax office and company would like to renew the contract with the same rates for additional year. Currently, the county pays $89 per 100 statements. If approved, the term of the contract would be from July 1st of 2020 to June 30th of 21. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir, and I'm on now as well, I believe. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under D3, authorization recommendation for bid number 20-1013 ADA renovations at Exco Event Center. Ken?
Yes, sir. We received a number of bids on this, and I have to say it's our first use of the using electronic means of response, and I thought that went well. We had 2 responses that we received through the demand star that I requested a couple of weeks ago. So we received a bid from Wright Builders in the amount of $1,022,300. We received a bid from Flores Construction in the amount of $679,342. ASD Consultant submitted a bid for $770,000. HCS Inc. submitted a bid of $773,994. John W. Irwin submitted a bid of $672,000. Barsh Company submitted a bid for $769,000. And Mitchell Construction submitted a bid of $690,800. We recommend to the McLennan County Court grant the award for Mexico Event Center ADA improvements to John Irwin. John Irwin submitted the low bid, and we received a supporting document from Daryl Vickers with CPNY supporting the recommendation to John W. Irwin.
Okay, any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the recommendation of purchasing director to award the contract to John W. Irwin Construction.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Fulton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under G4, there's a, Commissioner Miller's asked to defer that. Is there a motion to defer?
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Fulton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H, under contracts, interlocal agreements, memorandums of understanding. Under H1's authorization of the 11th memorandum of agreement addendum with Baylor University. This is with the DWI drug court program where they provide work with interns within our program that's managed by Judge Devin Agam. And he's looked at the addendum and approved it. Any questions about that? If not,
Motion to approve.
there's a
Second.
motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Fulton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Pass. Under H2 is a ratification of service agreement with Diamond Star Corporation. This is an internet-based electronic bid information system. Ken?
Yes, sir. There was a service agreement that we needed to complete to actually join on to the Demand Star. I didn't realize it until after I was trying to sign up. And this is the service agreement that I wish to present to the court and ask for ratification of.
Okay, any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Fulton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H3, authorization agreements related to documents with CPWP, copier for county clerk's office.
Yes, sir. It's time to replace current large format copier, and this is the lease agreement. The new copier does go up a good amount, but I think we've had that other one in place for like 5 years, and so it'd be new lease is $4,297, and with a annual service and toner of $600 for a total annual expense of $4,897. They do have a additional amount of 0.08 cents per square foot when they're doing larger format items. And we've gone through the lease agreement, and everything's in order. And as we and they include all the different requirements that we have for lease, and the term is for 60 months.
Ken, just to make sure I'm clear, You said it was 48.70 a month, or is that a year?
Oh, I'm
A year.
sorry, year, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's still high enough, but
Yeah, but it's a large format machine. It's not like the regular machines we have throughout the rest of the county.
like a $24,000 copier.
Yeah.
A lot better than the first number I had at 6 times 60.
Okay, any other questions for Ken? Not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the agreement with CTWP.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H4 is ratification of Lexus Advanced Subscription Amendment with library patron access with LexisNexis for the law library. The monthly cost is National Primary Enhanced is $1,746 for all briefs, pleadings, and motions. That is $1,799. And then for Texas Practice Library is $1,853. Is there any questions about that? If not, is there a motion to approve the subscription amendment?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under H5 regarding United States Marshal Service Agreement, under H5A is the authorization of modification intergovernmental agreement regarding the special VTC language for agreement and for the Jack Harwell Detention Center. This modification agreement with U.S. Marshal Service to incorporate the use of guard service to monitor federal prisoners on a case-by-case basis during court hearings conducted via video teleconference, where the federal judiciary has restricted in-person presentations of a prisoner before the court. The guard hourly rate is for $28.14 per hour per guard. Any questions about that? I think Major Armstrong's on. Is there, I'd make a motion that we approve the modification intergovernmental agreement with U.S. Marshal Service.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. That was for the Jack Harwell facility. The next one is for the Highway 6 facility. Identical reasoning, and hourly rates $29.72 per hour per guard. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under items J, under capital improvements, repairs, maintenance, and projects. Under J1s regarding McLennan County Road Program, this agreement with Clark Roofing, the authorization of invoice for the sheriff's office roof. Ken or TJ?
TJ, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, yeah. So as of right now, we've got the sheriff's office completely wrapped up. We are waiting on some warranty documentation to come in, but this invoice is right in line with what they've got done so far. Just to let the court know, we are actively working on the archives roof as well. They've got it about 90%, should wrap up within the next couple of days. and then we'll move on to the annex building. So they're making some good headway.
Okay, any other questions? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under J is regarding the renovation building of 4D Court, which is the old Aver Life building with, it's a K4 construction project. This is payment number 9. K4 submitted to pay application number 9 totaling $38,522.87 for partial retainage until the windows are completed. Is there a motion to approve? Or any questions on that?
What is the status on that? What is it? Is it ready?
Ken,
Yeah, Commissioner, the building itself has been fully operational for the past several months now. Of course, it shut down with all the COVID stuff, but this was an addition on top of the original scope to replace the windows and the door frames. So all of that work has been completed as well. We're just wrapping up some of the documentation, and then we'll be good to go.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve payment number 9?
Motion to approve payment number 9.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under J2B, K4 submitted the application number 10 for $28,262 for windows. There's a test there. Is any other questions about payment number 10? Not, pleasure of the court.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Passed. Under K, under real estate, we have nothing this week. Under L is grants and grant proposals. Going to L3 regarding the Texas Community Block Grant ratification and request for payment for water and sewer improvements in the unincorporated community of Elmont. This is contract number 7219270. This is for payment totaling $8,700 for work associated with water and sewer improvements in Elmont. The reimbursement is being done through the Texas Community Development Block Grant. What's, any questions anyone have on that? What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under L4, motion to defer. I make a motion to defer.
Second.
Until we get more information. Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Passed. Under M is Department Office Specific Request. Under M1, County Sheriff, authorization or request the purchase of duty weapon. Deputy Pam Whitlock is requesting the court approve the purchase of her duty weapon carried during her tenure as sheriff deputy. The weapon is a Glock 19 9mm Gen 5. Person did some checking with the used gun stores in Waco. David Ives checked on what one could get from the CT distributors. Ken found that there's a bit of disparity in values from the stores and that have a program for selling to law enforcement. He found a consensus of opinion that the weapon has a fair market value of approximately $350.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion?
Commissioner Snell. Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Judge Bolton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under M2, Justice Peace Precinct 3, authorization of Mitel phone installation request. Lisa?
Hello, Judge. This is a follow-up to our discussion in the last meeting for Judge Perea's office. We did have some time to meet with them and go over some different solutions. What we have left is the phone conferencing. He would like to use the Mitel phone system that we are using throughout the county. Have an 8-party conference capability with the standard desktop solution. He's found that acceptable, so he is requesting 2 of those devices in his office. We have those in stock with licensing on hand, and we can also run the network cables with our IT staff. So we are asking for the court's approval to proceed with that.
Lisa, is there enough bandwidth there?
Yes, sir, there should be. We actually ran out there and performed a demonstration of this for him, and he found it acceptable.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No discussion, calling for a vote.
Commissioner Snell.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller.
Aye.
Judge Bolton.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N, under additional items for discussion, potential action under N1 is discussion or action matters regarding COVID-19. Let's see. Elizabeth, are you still on? If I think she has to get on another call. So I was just going to give her an update, but you can see those online. I don't have anything else under that item. Under N2, selection or designation of public members for salary grievance committee regarding the FY21 budget.
Donald Wayne Rep. Wendy Schmidt. Jason Gabriel Torres. Eloise Rodriguez Cole. Erlene Newman. Rebecca Mosley. Sarah Sheridan. Judy Moore. Jocelyn Nago. And Cindy Sue Strong.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next is item N3, discussion and action regarding the order authorizing Memorial Day fireworks sales. Occupations Code 2154.202 permits the Commissioners Court to adopt an order authorizing the sale of fireworks for Memorial Day, May 25th. The state provides that the order must be adopted for May 15th each year for the Memorial Day period. for 5/20 of 19 through 5/25 of 19. Just a note, the court's statutory authority to permit fireworks has not been suspended by the governor. But May orders do not include fireworks sales as an essential service. Any questions anybody have about that, or any comments or opinions?
At least we're having a drier year a wetter year than we've had before.
Yep, so far.
So are they going to be able to sell the fireworks?
Yeah.
Are they going to be able
We
to?
can only object to them selling them, but we have to do it before that May 15th date. And so if we approve this, then they're allowed to sell fireworks.
But it's.
So I'm a little
It's not
confused about this
considered essential.
this last sentence. Orders do not include fireworks sales as an essential service.
Unless phase 2 opens that up.
Yeah.
Phase 2 would start on the 18th.
Right.
Where does it say phase 2?
Well, that's the only thing I can figure
Yeah.
out.
Oh, okay. I mean, that
But
bothers me.
it seems contradicting.
Yeah, it does.
I don't object to the sale of fireworks, but are we being asked to make fireworks an essential service?
Yeah, that's our question.
Yeah.
But phase 2 will be on the 18th. And so if we approve it subject to phase 2 approving it as essential business, then we're clear.
Okay.
I think we're, so. We
Oh.
have a
Motion to approve the sale of fireworks, depending upon the phase 2.
allowance.
If we're allowed to go to phase 2.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion been made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N4's discussion or action regarding the temporary pauper burial policy relative to the COVID-19 decedents, I'd call on Heather Travers to discuss this. Heather, are you available?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let me see if I can start the video as well. Well, most importantly, you can hear me. So what this pertains to is Mr. Shehorn, the director of the Lakeshore Funeral Home, reached out with some concerns about potentially holding a COVID-19 diseased decedent for any length of time. He's wanting to come up with maybe a temporary policy to expedite that process. Because we generally use cremation as our disposition, there's a statute in place that says that we can't expedite that process. So the only alternative would be to resort to a burial instead of a cremation. So hence the temporary policy that would just then affect the COVID-19 positive bodies. And we've kind of inserted a process in-house here where we're kind of serving as an on-call basis from Friday when we close at 6 p.m. until we open again on Monday at 7:30, just to expedite any referrals that come in over the weekend rather than waiting until Monday to get started on those. So we kind of have some policies, some in-house policies in place, some temporary gestures to expedite that. But I thought I would bring it to the court and see what you thought about a temporary policy to resort to burial.
Okay, any questions? You wouldn't have a problem with that? I don't think we're talking about a whole lot of
I
value.
think it makes sense.
Mhm.
Make a motion to approve N4.
Second.
Motion been made, second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Pelton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N5, discussion or action regarding toll-free number and related letter authorization with Message Media. This is for the jury short message service for the district clerk's office. Lisa?
Sir. Yes, this is a service that we're performing in the district clerk's office to support their jury system. The vendor reached out earlier this year to let us know that the major cell phone carriers, such as Verizon, would begin blocking business messaging for those that are using the standard 10-digit phone numbers. So in lieu of that, they're requesting that you change to a toll-free number or a short code. IT looked into those options, and the short code was rather expensive at $500 a month. The toll-free number you pay as you go for just under 3 cents a minute. However, this is not a number that should be utilized, and we don't expect it to incur any fees, as it's simply used as a routing reference for this vendor. So this request, but I did want to make the court aware, just in case for some reason there were some inadvertent charges that came through. This request also requires receipt of an authorization form that identifies ownership of this toll-free number. And John Gimbel is prepared to fill that out as the account holder if we have that approval from the court.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to approve the toll-free number and related letter of authorization?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under N6, discussion or action regarding the 2020 Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool Employee Safety Equipment Program. This is something that we've done in the past, primarily working with both road and bridge and building maintenance to have personal protective equipment, safety related tools and equipment. And last year Rosemary handled this, and I asked her to do this again and work closely with the commissioners to utilize this program. Any questions anybody have about that? If
What was the amount that we were awarded last year?
let's see. I don't know that I have that. Not sure. Well, looks like this year it's $10,240.30 would be our portion. What's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Felton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. On the let's see, on item O, on Americans Disability Compliance Project, we have nothing in court this week. Under P is McLennan County Venue Project. Have nothing back in the consent agenda. There was a list of revenues that came in that you might have noticed. Under P1s regarding their architectural service agreement with Populous, under P1A's authorization professional service invoice for March through April service of $71,500 for construction administration. It goes from March through April. Any additional comments, Ken? Guess not. So what's the pleasure of the court on P1A?
Sorry, I was still muted, but Dustin and I both looked at that, and we are good with it.
Okay. All right, any questions anyone have? Is there a motion to approve? I'll move. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass under P2 regarding the construction manager at risk agreement with John W. Irvin General Contractors, authorization of application and certificates for payment agreement and addendums. Under P2A is authorization application certificate for payment number 15. This application payment is for $1,835,711. Ken, any comments on that?
Yes, sir. This was reviewed by Populous. Populous signed off on it. Both Dustin and I have reviewed it, and we're good.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve for payment number 15 for $1,835,711?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under P3 is regarding engineering service agreement with Walker Partners. Authorization of professional service invoice for engineering. Under P3A is authorizations for surveying services for March in the amount of $300 for a final plan. There's a motion to approve that payment to Walker Partners, $300.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under P4 is regarding professional service agreement. This is an invoice from Langerman Foster Engineering Company totaling $5,121.50 for steel work at the venue project. And Ken and Dustin, y'all have looked at that.
Yes, sir. We have so, and good with it. Chairman Foster is out there almost every day.
Okay. All right. What's the pleasure of the court?
Motion to approve the invoice.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, call for a vote.
Commissioner Snell,
Aye.
Commissioner Miller,
Aye.
Judge Bolton,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Perry.
Aye.
Pass. Under Q is McLennan County Radio Tower Project. We have nothing in court this week. Under work session, unless someone has something, I don't have anything. Is there anything else to come before the court? If not, we stand adjourned.